This is not a sign. This is a command. Hey guys, my name's Carol, and I'm going to be telling you how quitting my job, my full-time, well-paying job, changed my mindset, changed my mental health for the better. Okay, so for the last, almost 5 years, I've been working in the service industry, mainly as a waitress, bartender, barista. And when you're working as a full-time server, you rarely get any free time. That even if you ask for it, you rarely get it. You rarely get a workplace that has people who are willing to help you, to help better yourself, and to help you keep going in life and making your life always more interesting and more fulfilling. Maybe that's not the case in other places of the world, but in Russia, that's like the main part. So the main problem I had with my job is we were working like 14-hour days, 14-hour shifts with, like a 4-2 type work week, if that's what you could even call it. We were underfed, underfunded. I would always be under a lot of stress because I'm not a people pleaser. I don't like adapting to people in the sense that I'm not going to change the way I present myself because someone doesn't like it. And if I'm being honest, the main part of why I went to work as a server in the service industry is because you can make a lot of money. Definitely not by the place, but by your salary. You make a lot on tips. But that is if you're fun, if you have a good personality, if you're good at what you do, then you can make a lot. But again, the time issue is really hard for me because I am a person who is constantly trying new things. Like I went from working for 2 years as a waitress to a bartender for a year. I had to really up my wine game, my cocktail game, and then I went to different places with different types of food, and that's awesome, that's cool. But I also want to make something of myself, not as a server, and I think that's like the main part of going to work as a server most of the time, because you need money to fund your life and you need money to be able to do extracurricular activities that help you evolve as a person. For me, that's music, vocal lessons, piano lessons. I also wanted to do stuff on my weekends when I had them, because if you're constantly working 14 or 15-hour shifts, if you're constantly tired, then you don't get any type of fulfillment out of your weekends, because you are basically just sleeping through them all. I wanted to go to more vocal lessons, take more piano lessons, do more for myself, and evolve as a creative person. So this is where I'm going to get into the 4 main points of why I think you should quit your job. Number 1 is more time to value. I quit my job and I wasn't working for like a month and a half. Oh my god. I suddenly felt this flow of energy, of the desire to create things, to do something new for myself, to pick up old habits. Like when I started working, I probably for a good 2 years could continue to read, in my free time, when I was at home, when I was commuting to work, when I was at work but there was nothing to do, I could read. But as the time goes on, you're not looking for a long form of activity that could possibly make you sleep, that isn't like an instant dopamine hit, because you're so tired. So reading is one of the activities that I've picked back up, and honestly, it's an amazing cure for doom scrolling. It's so great. It's so interesting. I could literally spend an entire day reading one book and then feel amazing, and then have a mini hyperfixation on reading and continue to to read and learn new things. And the thing about that is it's not like trying to play a game, to beat the last boss, which I also indulge in that. But, it's constantly learning something new, is constantly, leveling up your vocabulary, your mindset, the ways you view certain things. Love. I'm currently reading for the second time 1984 because last year around this time I tried bringing the book to work when I had like a lot of free time. But you got bored of it because people are always constantly trying to talk to you. You get bored of it because, oh, well, I can just like watch a TV show and stuff like that. Also, when you have more free time, the way your sleeping cycle on its own, at least in my case, like just like goes back to a really healthy cycle. I would sleep like 9 to 10 hours every day because that's what's healthy for me. I would wake up feeling energized. I would wake up, do some stretches, read a book chapter, and then I would already be motivated for the day, which is not what you would get working as a server, because you come home, you sleep for like 15 hours, and then you possibly go out the next night drinking and stuff with your colleagues, and then you're back at work and you feel fucking awful. The next point that I wanted to emphasize is when you're constantly working, you're constantly laying in bed. You're constantly doing nothing on your free time because you're used to constantly being on the move, constantly doing something. When you don't have to, you just don't want to, which is also very destructive for me as a person, I've found, and for the people that I care for, that I have seen this happen to. The third point I wanted to emphasize is having free time lets your mind go in different directions. Before this, I've always wanted to start making YouTube videos, not like try to become super popular, just like this is a really good creative outlet for me and a kind of like healthy outlet for me to talk about what's on my mind, even though there's probably like no one listening. But anyways, free time, it makes you get creative with what you want to do during your day. Different activities, DIYs, trying something new, trying to film something, trying to, learn a new instrument, trying to read a new book, go outside more, go for a longer walk, listen to something fun while you're on that walk. Free time is so good and so great because, like I said, you just have so many new ideas about what you want to do, what you're trying to do, and how you want to actually productively spend your time. And the fourth point that I wanted to talk about is how my mental health started becoming so much better now that I have more time to think about myself. When you're always working, you don't really think about yourself in the slightest, except for the fact that, I'm hungry, I want an energy drink, I need to make money, and then that's it. But when you have more free time, you're like, okay, this is really boring to me. Let me do something else that will mentally, physically engage me and let me feel more productive and more fulfilled throughout the day. Going on walks, going to someplace and reading a book, meeting up with friends that you haven't met up in a long time because you just never had enough time because of work. Starting to go to a workout class, doing yoga at home, doing some fun activity at home, just reading, cooking home cooked meals. I used to have an eating disorder, which honestly, if you once struggled really badly with an eating disorder, it's really hard to say that you don't have it anymore because it's constantly in the back of your mind and you're constantly comparing what you looked then to how you look now, how you ate then, how you ate now. How can I change that? How can I become beautiful again? But this time for me has really helped me develop a newfound healthy relationship with food, even though I thought I was fine before. I started eating smaller portions of a meal that I cooked, but adding more fresh vegetables, more fresh fruit, so that it's all different. What I intake, what I eat is different, and it's fulfilling in different ways. And at the end of the meal, I feel good. I'm not hungry anymore. I didn't overeat because I ate too quickly, for instance, because it's so good. Oh my god. You value the time that you're spending on eating a home-cooked delicious meal with some like snacks in the form of fruit, drinking lemon water. It all comes back to a really healthy mental state where you're like, okay, I don't need to watch something while I eat a meal. I can just sit in my silence or have a meal with somebody, enjoy the time, slow down, talk about something, and just feel really good. This also helps, I feel, with the problem of feeling like you're in one place for too long because you learn to fill your days with different activities that you wouldn't do if you were as tired as before. Like, going to somewhere you've never been, getting on a bus and going to the very last stop and walking around there, like finding something new for yourself. Walking into stores, walking into produce stores, and just looking around all the aisles of like fun new foods that you can try. Honestly, love. Maybe I'm in my hippie era. Not sure though. So yeah, I quit my job, and after a month and a half break, I'm finally getting a new one, which will not include 15-hour shifts, not include toxic workplace environments, and not include me constantly being on my feet and overworking myself. So yeah, I'm going to work as a barista because I actually love making coffee, and as I said before, it's really interesting for me to actually learn something new when I change my workplace. So yeah, that'll give me more free time to evolve in coffee and also more energy to evolve on my weekends. So yeah, this is my video essay on why I think you should quit your job and the benefits, obviously, of it based on personal experience. So yeah, thanks guys. Bye bye.